wants to practice charging the clicker with this dog? Oh, come on. Get up, baby. I've noticed your boots before. I love them.
Thank you.
I've noticed them. I actually noticed them when I was here for volunteer orientation. I was like, I need to talk to her about this. Okay, so here's what I want you to do.
Here's some treats.
Oh, Heather's got some treats. So I want this kind of behind your back. Food behind your back. Now, the dog doesn't have to do anything. So I just want you to click, deliver the treat. Back behind your back, deliver the treat. Back behind your back, click. Good. Really good. So the key is try to kind of remain as stationary as possible when you're clicking. Good. Pull it through. Great. That was great. Good. You get to take a break.
Okay, well.
Don't worry. Hold those.
Okay.
Or hand those off and we'll pass them on down the line. Who else is coming up here to do this? Come on, people. It's a mechanical skill. Get working. Okay. So far, basically, Canine Campus people that have been suffering through volunteers with me. Okay, baby, you're up. Behind your back.
Other hand. Treats behind the back.
Oh, everyone's a coach. Everyone's a coach. So easy from the audience.
Good.
Now look, one of the beautiful things about this training is if you make a mistake, who cares?
Oh.
Now keep in mind, we're not clicking for this down. We're just trying to teach the dog, when you hear this, you're going to get a treat. Hear this, get a treat. The fact the dog's lying down is lovely, right? But right now we're just trying to get the clicker rocking and rolling. Perfect. Take a break. Okay, who wants to try yes instead of a click? Who wants to try a word? Oh, people. Oh, people. Sandy's up here. I'm coming back. We're going to do multiple yeses. Now, I've tortured Sandy before. Baby.
So I'm
going to stand near her because she smells of her essential oils and she's so incredibly calming. She's so calming.
So I'm just charging a yes?
Yes, you're just going to, behind your back, yes, treat, yes, treat. So get a little closer to the dog. Dog doesn't have to come up to you. Now keep in mind that for the population you're dealing with, chances are they're not going to come, some of them are not going to come up to you, right? They're incredibly environmentally sensitive because that's paid, right? Humans haven't paid. Behavior's functional. Yes. So when you get dogs in here, you can really easily tell how they've survived, right? And so some who've had humans are like, hey human, I think you have opposable thumbs and you feed me, right? Others are like, I've been surviving by my wits. You know, you're just part of the scenery. That's okay, right? So get closer to them and just start rocking and rolling.
So I'm not looking for a particular behavior.
Nope, just yes treat, yes treat,
yes,
yes treat.
And that's one of the things that doctors most look for, is a dog that likes them.
Yeah.
And at least looks at them. Yeah. So it's amazing the value you can do in just getting them to look at you.
Well, I think that's what's so powerful about the use of a marker, because again, the dogs get fed every day. This isn't about food. Dogs get fed every day. That doesn't form a relationship. What forms a relationship is when they discover that you can impart valuable information to them.
Yes.
That increases their chance of survival, right? Because it's like, you mean when I make decisions,
it's hard for me not to.
I get things that are valuable to me.
Yes.
Yeah, you do.
Yes.
Perfect. Take a break. You're up for yes training.
You're stepping on it.
Guess what? It happens. That's training, people. I don't think that this dog is going to starve to death if it does not get that last treat that I crushed into the ground. I think he'll still look it up. I trust Laura to supplement this dog's food as needed.
I think you improved it probably.
Yes.
So remember, don't wait for the dog to look at you. Just yes treat, yes treat, yes treat. You can get so many in, and I would actually hand the dog the treat because you can get faster in.
You know, some dogs it's not food oriented.
Yep. But it also depends on the food. So I've never known a dog that doesn't eat ever in my life. Yeah, right? So I can tell you that I was here for volunteer orientation last week, and there was a lot of dry treats. Not one dog would take a dry treat. So that's one of the things we have to talk about. You got to come with the goodies. And so moist treats tend to be better because they're tastier. They can also eat them faster, and they don't need to drink as much water. So when I come here, I come with meatballs. I come with deli meat. I come with cheese. I come with natural balanced food roll, which is actually dog food. But here's the thing. The size treats that I'm giving, pea size. Pea size. A meatball can last me all day. I mean, it can. So my goal isn't to fill dogs up. I want them just as hungry when they're done with me. I really do. Now, that said, you bring up an excellent point, because human beings tend to think we're the ones that determine what the rewards are. Now, there's a difference between a reward and a reinforcer. A reward is something that you find pleasant, right? Oh, that's a lovely surprise, right? A reinforcer is something you're willing to work for. There's a big difference, right? So the bottom line is, I had a dog that in training would not take food treats. In fact, if I squeezed cheese in her mouth, she would spit it out. She's on my logo. That husky is on my logo. I lost her last year. She was an awesome dog. Smarter than I will ever be. But, you know, I'm like, man, I'm trying to be a positive trainer, and you're not taking food. So what I had to do was figure out what was important to her. And what was important to her was meeting people and new smells. Okay, so you pay attention to me, click, you can go smell that deer poop. You pay attention to me, click, you can go say hi to that new person. Yeah, you don't want my cheese? Cool, I'll work with other stuff. My bet is here, one of the big rewards you have and the big reinforcers you have is getting out of the building, right? Fresh air. Okay, well, let's work for that. Oh, you pay attention to me? Click, I open the door. Let's go for a walk. Or you're insane because you see that I have a leash. You really want me to let you out? Well, cool. I'll wait for some Oh, 4 paws on the ground. Click. I'll lean forward with the leash. Oh, you jump. Leash stops. Oh, you're calm again? Click. I'll lean. Oh, you figured that out? I'll click again and get a little closer. Oh, you stay calm? I'll click and attach the leash. Now, I know it's going to take 20 repetitions. Right? Because I know the first 10 times you lean forward with the leash, the dog's going to go, whoop. Right? So it's just absolutely, it's okay. It's your willingness to say, you know what? This leash is a meatball, and you earn it, right? And here's the thing. One of my goals is that when people think about getting a new dog, they think of the SPCA as having the coolest dogs imaginable. Not the damaged dogs. Right? I have 4 months. Okay, so, and the husky was a rescue blood husky who looked a lot like a husky and acted like a husky. Who knows whether. I actually wish she had some hound in her. Would have made her much more dealable. But anyway, she was an awesome dog. So, you know, because I have the privilege of working with so many dogs, some of them, many of them purebred, many of them mutts. I know that the pedigree isn't what makes an awesome dog. I know that. That's why I have mutts in my house, right? Because it's all about the spirit, right? And here's the thing. This kind of training taps into that and helps a dog be all that it can be. And those are the dogs that not only get adopted, but stay in homes, right? Because we want dogs to go into homes and say, hey, you know what? I've learned at my little stay at the Charlottesville SPCA that if I make good decisions, it pays. And so even though I really want to jump on the counter because there's rotisserie chicken there, I think that I've been paid a lot better for keeping 4 paws on the ground. Maybe I should do that instead. Yeah, you should, right? But here's the thing. That doesn't take 10 practices. That takes 100. Right? That takes every single person has to be consistent with the dog. If some people, the dog can jump up and still gets a leash attached and goes for a walk, but some people are asking for polite behavior, that dog doesn't know what the rules are. So that dog's just going to keep trying cuckoo stuff, right? So let's start. Let's get it. Let's give that dog a break. I didn't say cuckoo
Because
dog.
we get a cuckoo dog.
I don't think we need a cuckoo dog. I think a dog would be good.
No labeling.
I was here for a staff meeting.
Yeah.
I was here for a staff meeting and they were picking dogs and I totally felt like they were like setting me up. There was like this whole cabal going on in the back. And you're like, let's get rid of this dog.
When I go into the kennel, the dog is jumping. All of a sudden, 4 paws on the ground. I have to be quick.
Yeah, so what I would say to you is I wouldn't even go into the kennel until you got some clicks and treats for 4 paws on the ground.
For how
Because-
long?
10. Click treat, click treat. So what you want to do is establish a history. And so what I mean by that is, the second you open the kennel door and walk in, a huge distraction's just occurred, right? So rather than try to teach the dog something new with this really intense distraction, stand outside. You're still a distraction, but you're much less intense, right? By standing outside and say, you know what? Those 4 paws on the ground, that's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm clicking and treating for. So if you can get 10, 15, 20 of those in, then if you reach for the door and the dog jumps, don't go in for that. Oh, but I see we've now decided to do 4 paws. Thanks, I'm going to click again and give you a treat. You're keeping 4 paws. I'll click and reach for the handle. Jumped again. Sorry, that's not going to happen. And the thing is, the first time you do this, it takes 2 or 3 minutes. But once the dog's learned what the rule is, they're awesome at it. They're awesome at it. And we're going to go upstairs and practice this. Or we'll do it down here with dogs. But we're going to practice this. The key is you need to create a history for the dog so they understand what the rule is before you add a huge amount of excitement. And I say this about dogs that jump up on people, and we're going to talk about jumping up dogs and why dogs do it shortly. I have human beings practice with their own dogs for a week, trying to get the dog to jump up any way they can, holding food up, holding toys up, trying, jump up, jump up. So if you do, guess what? I can turn my back. But if you don't, I'll deliver the goodie. So the dog gets this huge history with you of learning, oh, I see, even though I really want to jump, if I don't jump, it pays, but boy, if I do, it doesn't. So then, when they're meeting someone new, they've had some practice at the expected behavior. And I tell people, start clicking and treating your dog for 4 paws on the ground before they even notice the person coming towards them. Because the person coming towards them is a distraction, right? So I'm going to start rewarding the behavior I want before the distraction's even there. So then when the person shows up, the dog's not only had a week or 2 of learning from me that jumping up doesn't pay, they've had 30 or 40 seconds of, boy, keeping my 4 paws on the ground really pays. Maybe I'll do it when this person shows up, right? So what we're going to do when a dog comes in here is the first thing you need to do is charge a marker. Who wants to charge a marker? Be a click or a yes. Come on up. You want to do click or yes? Click. By the way, this is Heather. I forgot to introduce Heather. Training assistant at Canada.
Thank you.
Long-suffering Heather, who's been with me since she was 15, left for college, thought she'd escape to Rhode Island, didn't work. Graduated but came back.
So Devin, can I ask this 4 paws on the ground? I know how important it is, but applicable even in the morning when we're getting the dogs out first thing in the morning. They haven't been out since 4 o'clock the day before, and you know they're busting to go pee or something. It's hard to wait. I mean, you know they just need to get outside.
I totally hear you. And so one of the things that I would highly recommend is training this not for the first time in the morning.
That point.
Right. So the time to train it is mid-afternoon. So that, again, the dog isn't in a state of really not being able to think, right? So, what we might do, and I'll talk to Ashley about this, and I'll talk to Laura about this, is we might say, hey, this training has to have happened. There must be 3 sessions mid-afternoon before the morning person does it.
But then you still can do it in the morning? I mean,
Absolutely. 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 So, and may I say this, I'm not a fan of sitting dogs. So we human beings just think it's great when dogs sit. There's no functional advantage to sitting for a dog, right? So if a dog never sat, it wouldn't die in the wild. Okay, so that just doesn't matter. There's something else I've discovered with sitting dogs. They're like rockets, right? So when people say, oh, don't pet my dog unless it's sitting, the second you reach for it, you get, right, this rocket in your face. I find dogs do much better standing. Now that's not true for all dogs, right? And with your own personal dog, you can have whatever rule you want. But I'm a huge fan, and what I like about standing dogs too, is if they are uncomfortable about being approached or interacted with, they can move. And I want a dog that moves. So we're going to talk about aggression a couple weeks from now. Oh, that's the cat week. That's aggression too. Stay through that. So we will be addressing that. But one of the big issues with on-leash aggression, 62% of dogs who are aggressive towards other dogs while on leash play beautifully with dogs off leash. Mm-hmm. That tells you something really important about the leash, okay? And what it tells you is that the way we all manage fear and discomfort is space manipulation, right? Mm-hmm. So if I said, hey, there's a copperhead under your chair, my bet is you'd move, right? Like, you'd make a hasty retreat, right? You might scream as you do it, fine. I'm a screamer. I personally, if there's something wiggling, I'm like, ah! But you run for the hills, right? When dogs are on leash, they can't. So when fight or flight is elicited, you get scared enough or uncomfortable enough that fight or flight is elicited, and flight's off the table, fight's left. So let's say I had you duct taped to that chair. And I said, hey, there's a copperhead underneath you. You'd be like, go away, copperhead. I want you to go. You know, like you would start hissing, spitting, barking, lunging. You would do whatever you could to make the copperhead go away. So what's really important to make note of when you're looking at aggressive behavior is the biological definition of aggression is an attempt to increase social distance. That's what it is, right? And people will say to me, now, if I dropped the leash, my dog would go over and kill that thing. It's like, yeah, your dog would approach that dog like a maniac in the hopes that that dog would intelligently say, oh my God, a maniac's coming towards me, I'm leaving, right? I cannot get out of here fast enough. So what I like about standing dogs is, hey, if I'm a little unsure about you because you're wearing a really strange hat, or you have a beard and I've never seen someone with a beard before, I think I want to go behind my mom. Cool, go behind me. I have no problem with that. Right? So we're one of the only species that says to a distressed member, suck it up, deal. No other species does that. There's no recorded incidents of any other species saying, suck it up and deal. Right? When distressed members are like, help, guess what? The other members go, cool, we'll help. Right? So if a dog's hiding behind me, hide. I don't mind having a dog hide behind me. Okay. So, start clicking. So we're just going to let him get his yah-yahs off. Wait for a second. We're going to wait for yah-yahs. And then Heather'll step on the leash just to keep the dog in close proximity. So here's something that I want you to make note of. Forcing your agenda on the dog, especially if it's an environmentally sensitive dog. Like, so you can see, like, this dog has no idea what's expected, right? No idea what's expected. I love that. Walk into his face. There you go. There. He's transferring. He's new. So Head, long-suffering Head is the tether. Go Heather. All right, so now start clicking and start treating. Now again, dog's behavior is irrelevant. All we're trying to teach the dog is the click means a treat. That's it. Don't care, so just deliver the treat. Deliver food, don't click. So you're clicking with the expectation the dog will look at you? No, click treat, click treat, click treat, click treat. So set yourself up so you can click and treat, right? So you want to be right in front of the dog. It's anything. So think where you're standing. You're behind him. That's not going to be efficient, right? There you go. So that's a perfect example of, oh, you have better food than I do. No, I don't. Any food's good. Because everything that's up here is top of the line, right? So that's a matter of logistics, right? It wasn't obvious to the person trying to figure out how this was, but she's standing behind the dog. The dog's looking over here. She's making this noise behind the dog. The dog doesn't know what's going on behind, doesn't care. Versus me, who said, you know what, I'm going to stand right up in front of you so I can just start making an association, right? So that was great, because if you're working on this, you might say, the dog doesn't like my food, or this isn't going to work. A lot of times it's just, I can tell you that when things aren't going the way that I would like them to go, my assumption is always, Devin, what are you doing wrong? You're not clearly letting this dog know what they need. And in this case, they don't need to do anything, just be within range of delivery of food. Right? That's it.